Hi crocheters of the world, in this tutorial we will work together on this baktus scarf with the jasmine stitch. You already know, if you follow me from some time, you already know that I am just in love, or maybe obsessed is better, with the jasmine stitch. It's a beautiful stitch. As you can see, I have my pullover with the jasmine stitch that I just love. I also did a scarf, a ring scarf last year I think, with the jasmine stitch, and the beret with the same stitch, and I have some others, I think, pattern stitches with this stitch, projects with this stitch. I just love it. It's wonderful. Now let's talk a little bit about the scarf, the baktus scarf that we will work together in this tutorial. Let me just show it to you better. It's so soft and light that you won't believe it. It's merino 100% yarn. I worked with a yarn from the boutique, obvious, and you have the link below if you want to purchase it directly from our boutique. It's it's lace ball 100 from Shopple. Really lovely yarn. It's a lace yarn, which means it can be worked crochet from 2mm to 4mm hook. Now let me tell you why. It's so soft. Now it is 100 grams and 800 meters. You will need only one ball of this yarn to work the entire scarf. Believe me or not, this is the truth. It's so wonderful. With 2 or 3 of these, you are able to work an entire blouse. It's extraordinary. Now, if you don't want to work with this one, you can. I just want to give you another opportunity, let's say another idea, a substitute, let's say. It's from Shopple again, and it is 100% merino again, and it is the edition 6 Shopple. It is really, these balls are something incredible for us crocheters and knitters, obvious. Beautiful, so soft, so nice, so high quality. From this one you will need 3 balls because it is 50 grams and it is 300 meters in one, so you will need 3 balls of this yarn. Now what else I can say? Yes, the crochet hook, as I've told you before, you will need, so you can crochet this yarn with crochet hook from 2mm to 4mm, which means depends on the pattern stitch that you are using in your project. Maybe you are using something like double crochet, or I don't know, something that you need to work with a 2 to 2.5mm hook, you know, you need something more thick. Or you need something more light, nice and soft and light, as I really wanted to obtain here, and I use 4mm hook for this one. So if you work loose, then you can use 3.5, so 3 to 3.5mm hook. I am a medium, let's say, not very loose, not very tight. So it's a medium way of crochet. So I use 4mm. Now, what I want to tell you is before you begin with the scarf, take your yarn, take your crochet hook and try it with 3.5 and then with 4. Make a nice swatch with the stitch so you can understand the stitch also, because maybe if you don't know it, I will let you the link below of the tutorial where I explain you exactly this stitch, so the jasmine stitch. Okay, I think that would be all. I think I've told you everything. You have in the tutorial all the descriptions. So actually in the tutorial, as usual, I'm working with a thicker yarn because I just wanted you to understand what am I doing. Obvious that with the lace yarn it's a little bit more difficult, but at the end, actually the border that I put, I shown you how to work it exactly on the shawl and exactly with this yarn, so you can also see how to work. So how am I working with this yarn? It's a very easy. It's a scalloped yarn, it's a scalloped border because it doesn't need anything else from my point of view. I only have to block it. If you want to know how I block my shawls, just let me know in a comment below and I put you the tutorial of how I block my shawls. Please block them, don't iron them, because it's better. Ironing them, with ironing them you can destroy the fiber in them, okay? That's why my advice is for you to block the shawls and the scarves, not to iron them. I ironed them from, I must say, a long time, and I must say it's really wrong, believe me. But as I said before, let me know in a comment below if you want me to tell you a little bit, speak you a little bit about the how to block and the difference between ironing and blocking shawls and how actually to do it. I will do it, of course, with pleasure. I let you to the tutorial now. Before we begin to work this, I just want to show you that this will be, this is Pluto. He wants this one, please. Okay. Come. Okay, now we can continue on. So here will be the part that we will increase, and this will be the part that we will just continue on going right, straight. Okay, so we will work one row with increase, one row without increase, one row with increase. The increase will be always at the end of the second row. So this will be the repeating sequence you will see. And we will go like this until it's you to decide. I work about 88 centimeters and then I began with the decrease part that will be identically obvious, and the length it's 160 centimeters. So as I said, it's you to decide. Now about the jasmine stitch, we will begin with one cluster here. This is the tail, beginning tail of the yarn, and then we will work the solitary cluster, then 1, 2 and 3, and this is the very first jasmine stitch. Then we will also work a increase. Now to increase you will work 2 clusters together like this, and of course I will show you. Then we will turn back with the solitary cluster, then 1, 2 and 3 together like this. Then again one more, because we have 2, one more, we work 1, 2 and 3 together like this. And then this is the first, let's say, repeating sequence, and the second repeating sequence begins again with the solitary cluster. Then we have 2 jasmine stitches to work. This is the first, 1, 2 and 3. So actually for a jasmine stitch we work 3 clusters together. Then we work the second jasmine stitch, 1, 2 and 3, and the second row ends always with 1 and 2, so with the increase. Okay, so more or less this is the idea. Now let's get started and crochet this. So we begin with the solitary cluster, with the first cluster. It's not the solitary cluster, sorry, it's the first cluster. Chain 4, yarn over twice, insert hook into the first chain, pull up a loop, work your triple crochet but don't finish it, yarn over twice, work your second triple crochet but don't finish it. Now we will yarn over and close together with a chain. Okay, this is my very first horizontal cluster. Now on this I will begin to work my first jasmine stitch, only that for the to begin a jasmine stitch row we need a solitary cluster. So let's get started. I chain 4, insert hook into the chain here that you close your first cluster and work the solitary cluster. So this is it. It's like this, you have to watch it like this, okay? And now I will begin to work my first jasmine stitch. 1, 2 and 3. 3 clusters together. So 1, 2, 3, because I already have one. Insert hook into it and work 1, 2. This is my first cluster. Now I will come directly where I worked my solitary cluster, this one. So 1 and 2 here. Here I will work my first this 1, 2, 3, and then I will skip the first horizontal cluster, the one that I began with. Oh, here it is, the beginning tail. So here it's very important, the beginning tail. That's why I shown you into the graph. Okay, now I have my 3 clusters here, 9 loops on the hook. I will yarn over, pull through, but don't pull very tight, because I will insert hook something like this, and here just look. I don't know how to explain this, okay? I take like this, pull up a loop through, and now yarn over, pull through 2, and this is my single crochet. I like to finish my jasmine stitch with a single crochet because it looks better, okay, at the end. Now this is my first row. This is the beginning cluster, the horizontal cluster. This is the solitary cluster, and this is 1, 2, 3 together, the first jasmine stitch. I need to finish this row with an increase. I said that to increase we will work 1 and 2 together. So to increase you work 2 clusters together. Now this is my first one, chain 4, insert hook into the single crochet, work the first triple crochet, okay, yarn over twice, and let us work the next one exactly into the chain where you began. Okay, here we will work it. Okay, yarn over, pull through all, and the same thing I do here. Can you see it? Take 2, pull through and single crochet. Okay, this is my first increase. Now I will increase for the increase side, no, because we have one increase side, one decrease side. For the increase side I will always increase on this side. It's the side with the beginning tail. Okay, this is where I will always increase. Now I will begin the repeating sequence. So go back working all the stitches, meaning that you will work over each horizontal cluster that you see. Now we have 2. Over all horizontal cluster that you see, you will work 1 jasmine stitch. So this 1, 2, 3 together. We began with 1, now we have 2, okay, because we just put a increase. So we always begin with a solitary cluster, and here it is. Okay, close it with a chain, and now let us begin with the first jasmine stitch. Over this one I will chain 3 more and insert hook into the first chain and work 3 triple crochet, 2 more triple crochets. with the chain 4 I have 3. Now I will go exactly where I work the solitary cluster, and I will work, oops, and I will work one more cluster, obvious, for my jasmine stitch, and skip the horizontal cluster, the first horizontal cluster of 2. We only have 2 by now, okay? And now I have my 3 clusters, 9 loops on the hook, pull through all, don't pull too tight, because we insert like this the hook, we take these 2, pull and single crochet. Okay, this is my first jasmine stitch. Now let's work another one, exactly the same over this one. So chain 4, yarn over twice, insert hook into the single crochet and work the first triple crochet, work the second one, now we have 2, yarn over twice, we go exactly where we work the last cluster of the 3 of the previous. Here we go, and we work the second jasmine stitch, second cluster of this jasmine stitch. Okay, so into the third, always like this. Okay, and we skip the horizontal cluster to work the third. We go into the single crochet that we have here and we work it. Okay, and as I said, this is the first row of the sequence to repeat. Now we have again 3. We yarn over, pull through, don't pull tight, okay, because we insert hook here like this, and we want to take something like this. Okay, now you can see what am I doing, and single crochet. Okay, now this is the first row, solitary cluster, 1 jasmine stitch, second jasmine stitch over the 2 horizontal clusters. Now what I want to do is to go back with the second row of the repeating sequence. Always into your second row, into each of your second row of this pattern, you will increase at the end. And the second row will finish always on the side with this, the beginning yarn, okay? Very important, these two. So the first row, you just go ahead and work all the stitches as they are. You will have 1 more in each first row of the repeating sequence. Now we have 2. You will have 1 more, you will have 3, because into the second we always increase. Okay, now let us go. We always begin with a solitary cluster, chain 4 plus 2 more triple crochet that we close together. Okay, we close together, chain 4, insert hook into the very first chain, and let us begin with our jasmine stitches. We need to work 2. This is the first cluster. The second cluster goes into the where you work the solitary cluster for the first one. Okay, and the third, skipping 1 horizontal cluster. It's not that difficult, it is only that you need to work with me at the beginning. Okay, now yarn over, pull through all, don't pull tight because we insert hook here and we just want to single crochet. Okay, like this. This is my first jasmine stitch. Let us work the second one. Into the single crochet we go and we work 2 more triple crochet. We have the chain 4, stands for the very first. Then where we work the third cluster of the first jasmine stitch, we will work the second. Actually, I am working it the second. Okay, yarn over twice, skipping 1 horizontal cluster, sorry. We work the third into the single crochet here in between, And like this, we are at the end of the second row, where, as you already know, we will need to put an increase. Okay, yarn over, pull through all, and now just make this tricky thing to single crochet instead of chain. Believe me, it looks much more better, the jasmine stitch. Okay, so now we are at the end of the second row. It's the side with the beginning yarn, so it's here that we put the increase. Chain 4, into the single crochet of the last jasmine stitch we go to work 2 more triple crochets. We don't close them, obvious. Yarn over twice. We go where we work the third of the last jasmine stitch, the third cluster, obvious, and we work the second cluster of our increase. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. Okay. Now we yarn over, don't pull so tight because it's the tricky part here to work our single crochet. Okay, now we have the increase. As I said before, we have 3 jasmine stitches to work into the next first row. Okay, these are the 2 rows to repeat. Let us work our 3 jasmine stitches and again 1 more row with the increase, okay, for a better understanding actually of this side with the increases. So we begin again with the first row of the repeating sequence. As I said, in each first row we will have 1 more jasmine stitch to repeat. So now we have 3, we had 2 into the last one. 4, chain 4, yarn over twice, and we always begin with the solitary cluster, then chain 4, and now we begin with the first jasmine stitch. For the first jasmine stitch we work the first cluster on the top of the solitary cluster, the second cluster exactly where we work the solitary cluster, exactly in the same stitch, in the same single crochet, and skipping the first horizontal cluster we work the third. A jasmine stitch is composed by 3 clusters. Pull through all, not very tight because we insert hook here and we pull up a loop and we single crochet. Chain 4, and I will finish my 2 more jasmine stitches. Then I will be back with 3 again, and at the end I will put my increase. So I finished my first row of the repeating 2 rows. Now I will go ahead and work my second row at the end of my second row. So I will complete my jasmine stitches exactly the same number that I worked into the first row of the repeating sequence, but I will always finish with a increase on the side with the beginning yarn. So now I am into the second row. The second row is the one that finishes with a increase. Just want to repeat this so you won't forget to put that increase at the end of each second row. Okay, now I will just continue on with my I finished my 3, and now don't forget to put the increase. To increase we put 4. Okay, so this is the way we increase. You will increase as much as you want. This is the first, and the second will be into the where we work the third of the last jasmine stitch, the third cluster. I am always talking about clusters here because jasmine stitch is all about clusters. Don't pull tight because we just want to work our single crochet. Okay, so can you see how nice defined we have them? Okay, now this is what we have, and this is how, as you can see, this one remains just straight and this one goes nice and let's say oblique to create the triangle. Okay, so you will continue on like this for 88 centimeters or how many centimeters you want, and then now I will show you how to decrease to create the other part. Okay, so let's see from here. This is the last increasing row that I made, and I want to begin with the, I will undo a little bit this one just because I want to show you something. I want to begin with the decreases. Okay, so let's say that this is perfect for me, the length and the width and all, and I want to begin with the other side with the decreases. So into the last increase row you will finish with the increase row and then you will begin with a decrease row. Into the last increase row you will work like this, the horizontal cluster or the cluster the first cluster of two. You will work only 2 chains, yarn over, insert hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 and leave it there, and do it again. Leave it there, yarn over twice, go and work your last cluster, so the second cluster of the increase. Okay, 2 and 3. Okay, now I will yarn over, pull through all and single crochet to close. So I have a reduced, I can say a reduced cluster here. Okay, this is what I need before of the row with the increase. Now we will always increase, so I will put here a marker, because like this I know that this is the last increase row, and from here I begin with a decrease row. Okay, so I will chain full, turn, yarn over twice, insert hook and work your first solitary cluster. Okay, chain 2, close. Now we will begin with a decrease. So I will begin with a decrease and then I will show you the 2 repeating rows. So here I begin with a decrease, I will chain 3 more because I already have the first chain, yarn over, insert hook into the first chain and work 2 triple crochets as you normally would. Okay, now yarn over and work the second triple crochet into the same row, into the same space that you worked the solitary cluster. Okay, for now it's just perfect. It's just the same thing as we did before with the jasmine stitch. Now we will skip the reduced cluster that we worked in the previous row and we work another cluster. And this would be a completed jasmine stitch with 3 clusters together, but now we want to decrease, so we will skip one more cluster, horizontal cluster. So to decrease we need to work 4 clusters together. Instead of 3 we work 4. So we yarn over, pull through all 4, and now we just want to insert hook here. Okay, like this, single crochet, and that's it. Okay, so we just did our very first decrease. Okay, we just did our very first decrease. Now we'll just continue on to work 2 jasmine stitches as normally would to finish this row, and then from the next row I will show you the 2 rows, the 2 repeating rows. So let me just finish these 2 jasmine stitches. So for a normal jasmine stitch we work 3 clusters, we already know. We skip 1 horizontal and we just work. Okay, like this. Yarn over. Like this. Good. Now we work the next one exactly as we did with the first one. 3, yarn over, and we close them 3 together, and we are at the end of our first decreasing row. Like this. Okay, now we will go back, and now this is the first repeating row. The first repeating row we work all the jasmine stitches over the last horizontal cluster. We will work the first cluster of the jasmine stitch as a reduced cluster, exactly as I showed you before. So I will begin with the solitary cluster, and I will work, I have here 3. I will work 2 clusters, and I will be back to show you how to work the last jasmine stitch. Sorry, not 2 clusters, but 2 jasmine stitches, okay? 2 jasmine stitches. Okay, so I finished my first 2 jasmine stitches. Obvious that on a normal scarf you will have more, much more, obvious. And now over the last horizontal, so in each first row of these 2 rows that I am showing you right now, this is the first, you will work it reduced. So chain 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through 2, remain like this. The next 2 will be 2 normal clusters, so with the triple crochet. This is the last one, and this is how we prepare actually. So each first row, it's a prep row for the decrease, because at the end we always work a reduce the first. So the last jasmine stitch actually is beginning with a reduce cluster, okay? And now into the next row I will begin with my decrease. Obvious, first of all, solitary cluster. Okay, here it is. Then let's get started with the decrease. So 1 cluster on the top of the solitary cluster, yarn over twice, insert hook exactly where you just worked the solitary cluster, and work 1 more cluster. This is the second. Okay, for the for the third we skip the reduced cluster, horizontal cluster, and we work the third. And for a normal jasmine stitch, 3 clusters are just perfect, but we need 4. So we yarn over, skip 1 cluster, and work 1, 2, and 3, and work your last of the 4. So I have 4 here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yarn over and pull through all. Don't pull too much, because we just need to insert hook here to pull up a loop. Now you can pull, and that's it. Okay, as you can see, we are just going, as you can see the shape of it. Okay, I will work my last jasmine stitch, because here I have only 1 more to complete in this little swatch, and these 2 are the rows to repeat to the end. You will end up with 1 horizontal cluster as you began with. You began with 1, you will end up with 1. Okay, here we are. Close the cluster like this. Okay, let us begin again 1 row. So now we have 2. This is the first row. What we are doing, we work the first into the last. We work the first cluster as a reduced cluster. Okay, so we work all the jasmine stitches normally, but the last is worked with the first cluster as a reduced cluster, small cluster. Okay, as you wish to name it. Okay, 1, 2, 3. This is the first. Now this one begin with a reduced cluster because it is the last one. Okay, then we work 2 more. Then the second row is the row of the decrease. Okay, so first row, you work all the jasmine stitches as they are till you reach the last one, where you work the first cluster as a short or reduced cluster. Into the second row, you begin with a decrease. Obvious, after you work your solitary cluster. Of course, it must be blocked. Okay, and now as we work our, so now we are actually working our last, because this is reduced, this is normally, so we will work our last decrease. This is how you will finish with the decrease over 1 reduce and 1 normal cluster, horizontal clusters. Okay, that's it. I won't say it's easy, you have to focus, but this stitch is so beautiful. Okay, second and third. I have 3 clusters and I will work my 4th here into the last stitch. 1, 2 and 3. Okay, pull through all. Okay, that's it. Let me just show you what I have. I have my small, my sample actually of my scarf, my baktus scarf. So for the border I choose this shell stitch. It is really easy, that's why I haven't, so I didn't show you from the beginning, because it's really easy. So we will work around each triple crochet of each cluster, and actually now I can show you on my, with the yarn that I'm working, so the yarn, beautiful yarn that I worked all the scarf. How, oops, sorry, I was trying to undo here a little bit of yarn. Okay, so we will begin by working into the first, around the first triple crochet. We work 5 triple crochets, 2, 3, 4,
and 5. Okay, then a chain of 3 and 5 more. 1, 2, 3. Oh, sorry. 5 triple crochets, not clusters, as we work so many clusters now. I am blocked with clusters. 3, 4, and 5. Around the next triple crochet of the next cluster you work 1 single crochet. Then around the next you work the cluster. You work the shell, as I've told you before. I'm just blocked on the clusters, but I have to unblock me. 4 and 5. Chain 3 and let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Into the next, work a single crochet. This is how I will continue on. Look at it. I think it's just a perfect border. So I finished the border. Here it is. Now the only thing that I did is here in the on the point of the triangle I put two shells together. So two shells one after the other. So I didn't work shell single crochet, but shell and shell, and then again single crochet shell, single crochet shell. Okay, so this was the big difference. It's not a difference, but anyway, now I have to block mine, only to block. Can you see? If you block it, it looks just great. Even like this, it is lovely, but blocked will be just perfect. And that's it, it's ready. I really love it. I really love it. So hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I let you the link below for both of the yarns that I presented you, the one that I work with and another yarn that you can work this beautiful scarf. It's 100% merino. It's so very soft, so very nice and soft and light. So hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss another tutorial if you like what you see. And of course, don't forget to share our videos on Facebook, on Twitter, any way you want. For me, it's very, so you help me a lot. For you, it's just instant. You can like it, you can comment it below if you like it. See you at the next tutorial. Bye bye.